Hashimoto's, I think, was the question that I am kind of going with today. Does stress affect Hashimoto's? Does it cause Hashimoto's? No. It triggers Hashimoto's. Stress creates an inflammatory process. Stress does a zillion bad things to us. And it all starts with the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are our stress management glands. When you go into a fight-flight response, a stress response, a lot of things happen in that adrenal gland to offset physiology. It slows down your gut. It causes you to have constipation, so you're not detoxifying. The increase in cortisol when stress occurs, there's a hormone called cortisol, and it goes up, and it goes up a lot. And so it goes up to make stress hormones, or it goes up because it's the stress hormone being made instead of making something else. And cortisol has a bad effect on blood sugar control. But it has a worse effect on inflammation. Too much cortisol will cause inflammation. Inflammatory responses will then in turn cause an immune inflammatory response against your thyroid. So that's one of the direct pathways. I mean, your thyroid works specifically in tandem with your adrenals, and that's really the core of how stress affects your thyroid. When your adrenals have been under stress a long time, your metabolism goes down, and when your metabolism goes down, everything goes down. We just did one on female hormones, and we talked about when metabolism goes down, everything goes down. Your estrogen goes down. If your estrogen goes down, then you can't make babies. So stress has a big effect on that, and then that in turn has an effect on your thyroid. Thyroid and female hormones and thyroid and male hormones have actually what they call a crosstalk with each other. Stress causes underconversion of T4 to T3. So what that means is your thyroid makes a hormone called T4. Mostly 93 to 97% of the hormone that you make in your thyroid is T4. It's not active until it gets somewhere, like the liver or the intestines or the cell sites, and so for it to get there, certain parameters have to be met, and if there's inflammatory responses going on from stress, these proteins that carry the thyroid hormone from the thyroid to where it needs to get can't do that. And so you may have perfectly normal thyroid hormone numbers, but you might be stressed, and that might cause you to not be able to convert. It's called underconversion, your T4 to T3. And so basically what happens is you're not getting active stuff into your active thyroid hormone into your cells, and you're tired. So the stress indirectly affects thyroid hormone as opposed to just directly hitting the thyroid. And the cortisol that we talked about, that high levels of cortisol. So when cortisol goes up, one of the main things it does is it dumps blood sugar out from your liver. It's primarily designed to do that in the middle of the night when you're on a fast and you're like sleeping and you're not eating anything for 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours. And your blood sugar keeps going down because you're not eating anything. And so your brain needs blood sugar. So your adrenals kind of kick out some cortisol about every 2.5 hours to get that blood sugar into your head. And what happens is when you're in stress, that cortisol just goes up and it stays up. And when it stays up, it causes insulin resistance. And when it causes insulin resistance, then the TSH levels, the thyroid stimulating hormone levels in the bloodstream, particularly from your pituitary gland to your thyroid, but in the entire bloodstream, go down. So now your TSH is low. TSH means thyroid stimulating hormone. So your thyroid's not getting stimulated because you're stressed. And another thing that happens is and this is kind of goes with the last one that I just talked about, is chronic stress can cause an inflammatory response against your pituitary gland, and then your pituitary gland may just not make thyroid stimulating hormone. And the next thing you know, your thyroid's not getting any thyroid stimulating hormone, and it's not making any thyroid hormone. So stress has a huge effect on Hashimoto's. And I go back to the first thing I said. It's a major trigger. Triggers for Hashimoto's are multitude. Surgeries can do it, and accidents can do it, emotional traumas can do it, overwhelming infections can do it. But I would say, sitting here listening for years and years and years to Hashimoto's patients, that the number one thing that seems to have set off the problem is usually an emotional trauma of some sort. So that's stress and thyroid in a nutshell. And so I'm going to take the weekend off here, and hopefully we'll have another interesting topic for you on Hashimoto's on Monday.